Let's give her a big welcome.
Okay. Thank you, Indivisible NOCO, for inviting the League of Women Voters to speak today. And thank you all for coming out to join in and fight back. I'm Maher, a Loveland resident and the Vice President of the League of Women Voters of Larimer County. The League of Women Voters, which is not just for women, by the way, is a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization with a simple mission: empowering voters and defending democracy. For the last 105 years, we have been educating voters on all the issues of the day, fighting to gain and protect voters' rights, and fighting to increase voters' access to the polls by expanding early voting and expanding automatic and online registration programs. We will valiantly continue to work to protect voter rights and free, fair, accessible elections. The League of Women Voters is so proud to stand with you today, to join you in demanding that the current administration keep their hands off so many things. Like you, we have a long list. But our key message today is hands off our ballot. Hands off our ballot. In Colorado, our voting system are among the safest and most secure in the United States. We always rank among the top states for voter turnout. As voters, we are well empowered. There are no voter registration deadlines, so our citizens can even register to vote on a day of election and cast their vote the very same day. We can be automatically registered to vote when we apply for or renew a Colorado driver's license. 16-year-olds can pre-register to vote, meaning they're ready to vote as soon as they're eligible and less likely to miss a voting opportunity. What's more, our state legislators are currently on the verge of passing a Colorado Voters' Rights Act that will protect our citizens' access to the ballot despite the ongoing erosion of voting rights at the federal level. But today, our fair, robust, accessible, and secure election system is under attack by the 1-2 punch of an overreaching executive order and a deceptive bill introduced in Congress. We will not stand for it. We have this simple message for the President and Congress: hands off our ballot. On March 25th, President Trump signed an executive order that purports to preserve and protect the integrity of American elections. It requires documentary proof of citizenship to register to vote using the federal voter registration form. It threatens to withhold funds from states that allow post-election day receipt of mail-in ballots. And it invites DOJ, the picture of corruption and incompetence, to review each state's registered voter lists. We know a wolf in sheep's clothing when we see one. We know that this executive order isn't about election integrity. Our Secretary of State, Jenna Griswold, said the order would effectively become a poll tax in some states. Colorado election officials called the order unlawful. The League agrees. The League of Women Voters knows that all this executive order really does is threaten Americans' freedom to vote and trample states' constitutional authority to run their own elections. So we're taking action. The League has filed suit to challenge this executive order, together with our state, by the way. And we argue that this is an illegal order beyond the president's powers under the United States Constitution and federal law. Selena Stewart, our Chief Executive Officer of the League of Women Voters of the United States, had this to say: let's keep it real. This order is not about protecting elections. It's about making it harder for voters, particularly women voters, to participate in elections. This executive order is an assault on our republic and a dangerous attempt to silence American voters. The president continues to overstep his authority and brazenly disregards settled law in this country. To be very clear, the League of Women Voters is prepared to fight back and defend our democracy. In other words, hands off our ballot. Now, running parallel to this abomination of an executive order, a bill introduced in Congress threatens to make voting harder for everyone. Like the executive order that was cut from the same voter-suppressive cloth, this Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act, or SAVE Act for short, is deliberately deceptive, sounding like a common sense cure-all when it's actually a toxic snake oil being offered for a problem that doesn't exist. If this bill becomes law, every single American citizen will have to show very specific documentation, like a passport or an original birth certificate, in person when registering to vote, and anytime they need to update their voter registration. This will make it significantly harder or even impossible for millions of eligible voters to register or re-register to vote and have their voices heard. Do you have a passport? Do you know where your original birth certificate is? Did you recently lose all your important papers in a fire or natural disaster? Did you, like 8 out of 10 American women, change your name when you got married? Your answers to these questions may soon determine your ability to vote. Make no mistake, both the executive order and the SAVE Act are attempts to undermine voting access in this country. But it's the SAVE Act that's the truly dangerous piece that we as citizens need to take urgent action on. As Dawn Kirk just told you, an executive order is not law. But if passed, the SAVE Act would be. So let's not get too distracted by the illegal executive order and instead focus on killing that bill. We must join together to oppose the dangerous SAVE Act legislation, which is nothing more than an attempt to trick us into making it harder for millions of eligible Americans to cast their vote, and trick us into allowing the federal government to usurp authority over elections at all levels. Americans do not need more obstacles to vote. Demand that your congressional representatives soundly reject the SAVE Act. Tell Congress, hands off our ballot. If Congress really wants to secure and improve elections, it should restore the Voting Rights Act and pass pro-voting reforms like same-day registration and protections for voters with disabilities. So thanks again for coming out to help send this message to the president. We demand that he get his hands off our ballot.